And welcome to the next lesson in the series on AWS fundamentals. So today I'm going to be teaching you about a service called AWS Budgets. So it's probably self-explanatory here. So basically we're going to learn how to budget in AWS. And in our budgeting process, we are also going to learn how to set up alerts and how we can send an email to ourselves in the event that we are about to reach our budget threshold. Okay, so let's get started. Now, as you can see here, I already added AWS Budgets here to my navigation bar, so you can go ahead and search for it. So just look for Budgets, and here it is. Something else that I want to mention here, do note that I'm using my root user account. Okay, you shouldn't be using this account for anything else other than account setup, and of course, if you want to set up your budgets in AWS. So just bear that in mind. So make sure that you're using your root account just for this purpose. Okay, so let's go and create a budget. Right, so let's just wait for this to open up. Okay, so as you can see, I already have a budget here that is set. So we're going to go ahead and create a budget. So you won't have one at the moment, but let's go ahead and create a budget. Okay, first of all, we need to choose a budget type. As you can see, we get varied amounts. We get the cost budget, which is the recommended, a usage budget, a savings plans budget, and a reservation budget. So best to stick with the cost budget, which is recommended. That's the best one, and it's basic. Okay, you can scroll down and say next. Okay, now we can close this info panel here, and now we need to figure out how we're going to set up our budget. So first of all, we need to set our budget name. So here I'm going to say, I already have a budget, so I'm just going to say the budget. Okay, so name it accordingly. And now you need to set your budget amount. Now leave it on default here. Okay, usually I set it to monthly and recurring budget. So basically on the first day of every month, okay, it's going to renew and it's going to set the budget accordingly. Okay, you can set your start months. So I'm leaving it to the month that is now, which is September. Okay, best to keep a fixed budget, but you can go ahead and check the different budgeting methods that we get. So we get fixed, planned, and auto-adjusting, which is the new one offered by AWS. But we're going to keep it simple, so let's stick with fixed. Okay, now the important part. So we want to enter our budgeted amount. So let's say for the month we don't want to spend more than $25, so I'm going to say 25, and just like that. Okay, budget scope. Okay, you can filter by specific AWS services, but the safest option is to leave it as default for all AWS services, because the danger comes if you filter by specific services. Okay, you might forget to leave an important AWS service out, and then instead of expecting maybe $10, for some reason you're being charged $19, and that other $9 came from an AWS service that you didn't include in your budget scope. So best to be safe and set it to all AWS services. Okay, leave everything as default. You don't want to mess around with these settings, and just simply say next. Okay, so how the budgets work. So we can actually go ahead now and create a budget alerts. So let's scroll down. So our budgeted amount is $25. So what we can do, we can add an alert threshold. Okay, and basically what's going to happen is we're going to receive an email once that threshold has been reached. So our budgeted amount is $25. Let's say once it gets close to within 80%, okay, which is going to be $20, okay, we want to be notified by an email. So we can go ahead here and put in an email. So I'm just going to put test at example, my keyboard, example.com. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is you're going to receive an email once the threshold has reached 80% of your budgeted amount. In our case, it's $25. So once it hits $20, I'm going to get a warning saying, okay, 80% of your budget has been fulfilled. There's only 20% left, and you're almost close to your budgeted amount of $25. Okay, so be sure to set an alert for yourself. Okay, so you can go ahead and look at the further options. You can also set it up with chatbot alerts or SNS, but it's best to keep this very simple and easy. So we can now say next. Okay, and we can just review everything, check everything's right, double check your email. If you typed in the wrong email, you can just go ahead and say previous, go to the previous step, check your threshold, and that's all you need to check for you. Next will be the review stage. So you can just review everything. So things such as your budget type, your the setup of your budget, alerts, and anything extra here. So if you want to make a change to any of these things in the review section here, you can just say edit to make these changes accordingly. Okay, but if you're fine, you can go ahead and say create budget. Okay, and there we go. So the budget we made now was called the budget. And we can see we budgeted a maximum of $25. Okay, I'm using a little bit, so it's going to say the amount that I've used so far, the forecasted amount. So what's going to happen is, for example, if you have 1 month of a budgeting history on AWS, every month after that, okay, it's going to forecast an amount roughly on what AWS predicts you're going to spend. Then it's also going to give you a bit of data on your current versus budgeted amount and the forecasted versus your budgeted amount. So another good thing here, if you are into compliance and documentations that you need, you can go ahead and just download the CSV file if you require. Okay, so that's it on budgets. And one more thing, if you want to delete a budget, you can just go ahead and click on it here. Okay, and what you can do is you can just simply, actions, my bad. So you can go to actions and delete. Okay, just like that. Okay, and that's how you would delete a budget. So just some knowledge there for you in case you guys were wondering. Okay. All right, so that's it, guys. Short and simple. So that was on AWS Budgets. Okay, so very important to learn how to budget. So make sure that you do it in all of your AWS projects. So even if you're testing, I always have one, even if I'm testing, and also if I'm in a production environment, it's a must. But even if you're testing, you should really go ahead and still use it. You never know. Sometimes accidents can happen, and I have fell into that trap before, and it cost me a fortune. So make sure that you have your budget set. And also another good thing, just a bit of advice here, make sure that you actually do calculations on the services you use and predict monthly how much they will charge. Luckily with AWS, all of its on-demand resources, the pricing is pretty much fixed. So you can accurately have a rough idea of how much you're going to be spending every month. So make sure to, budget and do your own personal calculations on the side so that you're aware of what service is going to cost what, okay, as well as an overall budget for all of the services that you're using. Okay, guys, so that's it on budgeting. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, that's it.